years, I prayed, journeyed, meditated, and asked to find my life purpose. Little did I know that it would take a trip to Mauritius and Mexico, encounters with white wolves, a black jaguar, a crow, and many other strange experiences to get me there. I think it was Ernest Campbell that said, there are two most important days in your life, the day you are born and the day you find out why. And today I'm here to share with you my why. But more importantly, I'm here to tell you the map that I found while looking for this why. So a couple of years ago, I started this channel on an impulse. I had no plan. It was just something I felt that I should fancily do. And at that point of time, I had spent about 20 odd years on a healing journey that took me through a variety of landscapes. So there was the spiritual landscape, there was the psychological landscape, the relational landscape, the trauma landscape, the narcissistic abuse landscape, and several other landscapes that I traversed on this journey. What I didn't understand at that time was that all these landscapes were weaving together under the picture to create something much bigger than I had even imagined. And that is the thing that I will be sharing with you later in this video today. Up until then, I had no clue that I would one day be walking this path or practicing as a shaman. I worked in corporate for more than 25 years. I was head of training with luxury lifestyle brands. And when I answered the call to shamanism, it was a very big surprise to me. Not because the practice was surprising to me. I had always been deeply spiritual since I was a child. But when I was called to shamanism, I was also called to work with others. And this was not only a big surprise for me, to be very honest with you, it was a very scary experience, because till that time, I thought I was going to be an entrepreneur. In fact, I was trying to become India's next Richard Branson. I just didn't understand how I was going to serve others on this path. And I really was the reluctant shaman. But life happened and here I am. When I first started on this shamanic path, it was majorly focused on shamanic healing. But slowly I began to realize that the area of healing that I felt most drawn to was working with trauma. And interestingly, shamanism is one of the most ancient practices that acknowledges psychological trauma and has a variety of healing practices to work with it. But more about that later. When I first started posting on this channel, I was just posting mostly videos about healing from narcissistic abuse, trauma, narcissism, because that had been my path up until then. But it was only later that I began to realize that I needed to bring in science into the spiritual landscape as well. And this is what led to me going back to university, getting a master's degree in clinical psychology, then becoming a certified traumatologist, and now pursuing my PhD in psychology, which is what I'm doing at the moment. And it was not something that I had planned. All of these developments were very organic. They were just happening by and by. Now, on this journey with an unplanned channel where I was just posting intuitively whenever I felt inspired to post, I started to encounter some devastating losses and devastating life circumstances. And for a while, this channel had to take a backseat. as I tried to handle crisis after crisis and also some serious deaths in my family as well as among my friend circle. For the last 2 years, I have been asking myself a question: what is this channel really about? Not about how to make better videos or how to go viral or what topics to write about. Really, what are we about? And the answer to that question has finally arrived in a way that I can actually share with you today. So, a little bit of backstory. When I first started my healing journey, I had no idea where it would lead. I did not even understand that I had complex trauma. I was severely depressed with very high levels of anxiety, and I'd had a couple of breakdowns, but I just couldn't understand what was creating these mental health issues, because as far as I was concerned, nothing terrible had really happened to me. I know it sounds strange to say this now looking back, but this is how trauma works. In fact, I have a saying where I say that the biggest traumas are the ones you can't feel. So anyhow, I started to look below the surface and dig deeper and deeper to understand what had happened to me. And in that process, not only did I start to uncover what had created the very serious trauma that I still carry, but also to gain an understanding that healing is not a linear path from A to B. Instead, what I have begun to uncover over this process, which is now running into its 26th year, is that healing is actually more of a territory. It's a map. And it is this map that I want to talk about with you today. And also, this map is going to become the new structure of this channel. Now, I just want to be very clear that we are always evolving. I'm always evolving. So this by no means is a finished piece of work. But there was a time when I did not have the bird's eye view, or in shamanism, as we would say, the eagle eye view or the eagle medicine, to understand the actual structure of this channel. But today I do. And this is what I'm going to share with you in the next couple of minutes. And going forward, this is how we are going to build the channel. We, as in you and us together, the partnership that I have with all my amazing viewers and clients. And also, this is the way, the doors, the pathways that people can use to find us and to understand the essence of what the Black Jaguar medicine is all about. I can finally see the core structure of this channel clearly enough to share it with you. And I have divided this into 5 pillars. The first pillar of this map is what I call the poison. The poison explores the systems, beliefs, and hierarchies that harms us. My study of narcissism eventually led me to a larger question: what creates the conditions that allow narcissistic values to thrive in the first place? And this inquiry led me to examining systems of domination, oppressive hierarchies, and the patriarchy, and the structures that shape human behavior. Many of you already know the term I use for this, the narchiarchy. To me, the narchiarchy represents hierarchical systems fueled by narcissistic values. This pillar explores the forces that wound us collectively and individually. And the second pillar is called the wound, which explores the consequences of living within these systems. And this is where we will talk about collective trauma, individual trauma, complex PTSD, the wounding that comes from narcissistic abuse and emotional neglect, and the way human beings adapt in order to survive dangerous and harmful environments. And here I will share both my lived experiences and my professional understanding as a psychologist and traumatologist. The third pillar is the Jaguar path, and this is the deeply spiritual heart of my work, because this asks a simple but profound question: who were we before fear, domination, and hierarchy taught us to become something else. For me, this path has involved shamanism, direct spiritual experience, deep healing, and reconnecting as a way of being that feels more aligned with life itself. And the fourth pillar is the new world. And if the poison asks what went wrong, the wound explores its consequences, then the new world asks, well, what becomes possible now? What does a healthier world actually look like? What does freedom, true freedom, really feel like? And how do we embody this and build this collectively? The new world is about possibility and creating alternatives to the systems that have harmed us. And finally, the latest and the newest pillar is called the path before the path. And these are the stories that shape the Jaguar, the coincidences, the unexpected encounters, the losses, the adventures and the lessons, and the moments that made absolutely no sense at that time, but later revealed themselves to be part of a much larger pattern. And these are deeply personal stories, but my hope is that they may also help you to make sense of your own journey. Because sometimes we only understand where we are going when we finally understand where we have been. So this is the new shape of the channel. So this is the structure, the new structure of the channel, the map, which in summary explores the systems that harm us, the wounds caused by those systems, the path that can lead to healing, and finally the new world we can create if we decide to walk this path. And the fifth pillar, which is the path before the path, is my journey is about how I got there, some of which you may, or all of which, depending on who's watching, resonate with. If you have questions about whether there is a better way to live our lives, questions about the systems that harm us, or you're trying to find the answers that lead to your own personal healing, perhaps this map can be of some use to you. I don't claim to have all the answers, but one thing I have learned on this journey is that we heal better when we don't have to walk alone. And so I would like to welcome you to this map, to the new bird's eye view of healing that the direction that this channel is taking. And I ask you to walk with me.